Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, welcome back into another edition of Newhouse Afternoon on Mondays with you. I'm Dylan Byer, as always, with Alex Pohl. And you know when you were growing up, your coaches, your parents, they used to say to you, you can't win them all, Alex. Well, Syracuse didn't win any games across the board in every sport. I mean, even down to the men's hockey team. But you know what? We're going to try to remain positive here on this Monday because it's a new week and the past is in the past. But unfortunately, we got to talk about it. And maybe the most gut-wrenching loss for me personally, because I've just become so invested, and I know how much this one hurt you, was the #1 lacrosse team in the nation. Not that rankings matter, as we know. Syracuse men's lacrosse on the road for the first time lost to Harvard by one goal. And yes, an outdoor game, and everyone went right to Twitter and said, well, Syracuse hasn't won outside in February since 2003. The outside is their biggest opponent. Like, okay, they've played 4 games in February since 2003. So let's calm down there.
I know it's 1 Harvard, and then before this was the 2 Maryland, a Virginia game, and then an 03 an Army game. Like no games are played outside between 2003 and 2022.
Right. So everyone just, I mean, we're not talking about Kirk Cousins playing on Monday Night Football and his record. So the outside is, yes, of course, it's a factor into the challenges for Syracuse lacrosse because they play in a dome, but I don't think the outdoors was the end-all be-all contributing factor to the Syracuse loss. But just quickly, something that really, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this game, we talked about the mindset of the Syracuse lacrosse team and how it has to be for the road games, but something that we didn't talk about was the mindset of being #1. And yes, we know that the rankings do not matter, but you go from this mindset of hunting to being the hunted. So if you're a team like Harvard, well, wait a minute, Syracuse was the team that knocked you out of the NCAA tournament last year. So Syracuse was Harvard's Maryland. So if you're Syracuse, it's how do you keep that hunting mentality? Oh, we're #1, we have to defend it, we want to keep these good vibes going in with you all season, and it just didn't seem like that firepower and that passion from this team, which we've seen the past 3 games, was there.
I completely agree, and there were a lot of things that went awry for this team in the game, and I completely understand what you're saying of they are used to being the ones that are going after it. They have something to chase, they have something to fight for. Now they're the ones that everyone wants to then knock off. It just seemed like a lot of the time there just wasn't that passion and that fire, and you saw it and then they lost it. And certain teams struggle with, taking care of it in the second half, and other teams are second half teams. And this team, they did a phenomenal job in the first quarter, but they went scoreless in the second quarter, 5-0.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That is not something you can do against any team, and especially against a Harvard team, because yes, Syracuse was #1, but Harvard is a top program. I mean, after this week, they are now ranked #4 in the nation.
Crazy. Move up 10
Moving
spots.
up from 4, exactly. Yeah. They went from 14 to 4. And this is where the whole ranking things comes into play, is that especially like Joey Spallina mentioned last week, we're in February. Like #1 doesn't affect them. I think it does a little bit mentally. And it's also a tough pill to swallow when it's like, wow, we were #1. Now we're #6.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that there is so much more lacrosse to play, and it's not just them that's moving around. Not only did Syracuse get bumped down, but Maryland, who was the number 1 team before them, that Syracuse bumped off, now Maryland is down to number 15.
Yeah, they lost
It just keeps going over and over again. So it's not like there's going to be one consistent number 1 team, because this just shows how dominant and how strong the lacrosse teams are this year throughout all of collegiate and Division I lacrosse, through the ACC and through the Ivy Leagues especially, who had a clean sweep this weekend. Harvard took down Syracuse, Princeton took down Maryland, Cornell over Denver, Yale over BU, Dartmouth over Vermont, Penn over Delaware, and Brown over Providence. The Ivy League is certainly coming into play.
Yep.
Everyone has always seen, Cornell lacrosse. They won the national championship. But a lot of the time, the other Ivy League teams have been close, but not nearly as close as Cornell has been. They haven't been in that same conversation the way the ACC has been the power of all of Division I lacrosse, especially in the men's side. So now seeing the Ivy League taking down all of those teams who are a lot of them are in those top 10 rankings, just shows how insane this entire lacrosse season is about to be, because of how many insane powerhouses that there are, phenomenal teams, great talent all over the board. So I don't think that top 10 is going to, even the top 10 will even stay consistent. I think every week it's going to be a constant rotation because of how much talent there really is out there this season.
Right, and Harvard definitely showcased their talent in this game. And we've been saying in weeks prior that, sometimes it's not bad to lose early in the season, so you pinpoint what this team needs to work on. And through 3 wins, we really didn't see a lot. But like we said, in this game, you did see a lot. And one thing that I really noticed was the defense did not look like this premier Syracuse defense that we saw through 3 games. And what I really noticed was they weren't sliding to Harvard's offense. And there was this one play that Harvard kept running that Syracuse just couldn't pick up, where they left a man right outside the goal crease, and someone went behind the cage and whoop, whoop, goal.
Right on the doorstep. Yep.
And it was so frustrating to watch that, because you're like, wait, this is just the Syracuse defense that dominated the number 1 Maryland team, and now this is a Harvard team that was, no disrespect to Harvard, because obviously they showed that, the rankings didn't have them in the right slot. But I also noticed on the flip side, on Syracuse offensive play, wasn't the best shot selection also that we've seen by Syracuse. And I think the worst shot to come out of the day, unfortunately, was the last shot by Joey Spallina.
Yep.
I didn't understand that one.
So, that was a hard thing to watch. So for anyone who didn't see it, it was the final, basically the final play of the entire game. Syracuse had 1 opportunity left. They're down by 1. They have, oh my gosh, what was it? Not even.
I think it was 40 seconds.
Yeah, about 40 seconds. So under a minute left in the game, and they had the opportunity to take 1 final shot. That's it. That's the last thing that they had. That was the only way they could then tie the game, have the potential to then go into overtime, maybe get another shot off with 5 seconds left, whatever it is. And, who knows if they executed the play that was drawn up by Gary Gayton and his coaching staff, because what happened is Syracuse got possession of the ball, and then they called a timeout. So they had an opportunity to set up a chance to score a goal to tie this game. And they had, like you said, about 40 seconds. I think it was about 50 seconds to work with. And Joey Spallina takes the ball. And
it looked like he was trying to 5-hole it. Yeah,
No. There was nothing wrong with the shot. What I just didn't personally agree with was the fact that Joey Spallina is Joey Spallina. There is no player like him. I will never knock on Joey Spallina and his abilities, who he is as a player. He's just phenomenal all across the board. What I will say is, yes, he had 2 goals in the game and he had an assist. But he wasn't playing his game, the way we've seen him dominate so many other teams. And that makes sense because of how strong the Harvard defense is, as well as their goalie. So what happens is in these games, other players then step up. I mean, Michael Leo had 4 assists on the game. Luke Roa had 3 goals. You have so many other players that were really killing it in the stat sheet. And if I'm Harvard and I'm like, okay, they have one opportunity left, they're going to look to Joey Spallina. Right. It's the obvious choice on any other day and on any given day. But everyone knows that. So they're going to heavily pressure him. Your goalie is going to be ready for him to rip a low shot or something where it's generally more difficult to potentially save, especially from where he was shooting from. But Harvard was ready for that. So if I'm Syracuse, especially with Joey Spallina not having his strongest of days, he took 14 shots in this game. 14. And he made 2. Again, the fact that he even made 2 is an accomplishment enough. But if you're taking 14 shots and you're making 2 in a game, that is not the person that I want potentially taking that final shot. On top of it, if Harvard is going to be expecting him to do so, which most teams would, use him as the decoy. He says already multiple times he's a pass-first player. Use him as a pass-first player. Have him drive. Have him look at the other opportunities. Give it off to Luke Roa. Give it to Matt McEntee, Tyler McCarthy, like Finn Thompson, Peyton Anderson. All had such great games and were much stronger in their appearance and their ability on the field, especially in those closer range shots. So I just don't think that Joey Spallina should have been the one to take that shot. Not that he can't make it or that he couldn't on any other opportunity, but for the sake of it's just too obvious and it was taken too early. I don't know about anyone else, but personally, if I'm Syracuse, I would have waited longer to take that shot.
That was the point that I was going to make. I'm not necessarily mad that it was Joey Spallina to take the shot. Like you said, you're expecting it to go to Spallina, and yes, maybe they should have given it to Luke Roa, who had a hat trick, or even Michael Leo, who stepped up late in the second half of this game. But Joey Spallina is Joey Spallina, and he was going to do something great. My problem was you had like 40 seconds left in the game, and you didn't eat away at clock first to then take the shot. It just felt a little rushed, and I would have loved to see them pass it around, pass it behind the cage, take a little more time off the clock so that Harvard doesn't have time to, if they score, come back and score to take the lead with now no time left for Syracuse. But now that game's over. You lost, it's done. Now I think it's very important, and I'm sure they did on the bus back, is you have to sit in the hurt. Because now this is your motivation. Being the number 1 team and defending that number 1 spot is motivation enough, but hurt and wanting to never feel like this again is even more motivation, in my opinion, for teams that are having seasons like this. So for the next 5 games that are on the road, especially looking to this weekend, they have a Friday right into a Sunday game versus the number 7 and the number 19. So their schedule only gets harder. It doesn't get easier. You have to remember this hurt, and that has to be your driving motivation in these upcoming games, especially looking into Friday's game against Princeton, who just beat Maryland. So Princeton's on the up all of a sudden, which, looking at the preseason schedule, Princeton was like, oh yeah, it's Princeton, but now it's like, hold on, like, it's Princeton. This is going to be a great matchup on Friday. What are you expecting out of this one?
I think this is going to be a very tough matchup for Syracuse. I mean, they're coming off of a loss, which, like you said, sitting in the herd, giving them motivation to move on. But Princeton just took down Maryland, and they are a very, very tough opponent and a strong team. I don't think this is going to be an easy game, and yet again, Syracuse is going to have to play them on the road. So they're not coming back home, and they're not going to be home, like we mentioned last week, for a while. They won't be back till about March 22nd. So this is a long stretch that they have to play on the road, and Princeton is just stacked with so many phenomenal players, and it's not going to be an easy game at all for them, at least in my opinion. And Princeton is also sitting right below Syracuse. So they're at number 7, Syracuse is at number 6. And that's where we talk about, like I said before, how much talent there is. I mean, there were 6 teams that had votes to be number 1 going into this week. That does not happen. That's just how much talent there is across the board. But for when Princeton took down Maryland, they're a team that also comes out very hot out of the gate like Syracuse is, but they were at least able to maintain that throughout the game where Syracuse, that's exactly where Syracuse then did struggle this past week against Harvard. It's just going to be coming down to a lot of it is going to be saves, turnovers. I mean, making sure you're good on your clears. One thing that I think Syracuse will have the upper hand on, though, is ground balls. Princeton won this game against Maryland, but they only had 18 ground balls. Maryland had 34. So I think that that's one thing that Syracuse needs to look at is there's certain things in the game that are uncontrollables, but there's certain things where if you put the effort forward, you will get it. And things like ground balls that are 50-50, it is anyone's opportunity. That is where you can potentially dominate. What my biggest concern is for Syracuse is, though, at the same time, those ground balls. So where Harvard gained a lot of their goals from in this game was ground balls and rebound shots. There were 3 different shots that either bounced off of Jimmy McCool, hit a defender and rolled out right in front of the crease, and they were able to get a shot off. Syracuse seemed somewhat lost in the defense at times. They're like, oh great, we made the save. Where's the ball? They're looking around for it. As a Harvard player's already picking it up and putting it in the back of the net. You need to not only as a defense be able to protect Jimmy McCool, but if he's putting his body on the line, sliding onto the ground, putting all of his force to make these saves, he's going to do whatever it takes. It might not be a clean save, but at the end of the day, a save is a save, and you need to be able to maintain possession of these balls and get the ground ball. Now, what we will be able to, I think, take over is I think Syracuse is going to also be able to dominate in the face-off. Maryland had 18 compared to Princeton's 11. So there are certain things where I think Syracuse will rise up in the stat sheet. But that's where Maryland was taking over Princeton, and they still lost the game. And I think it also comes down to the fact of they were very efficient with their shots. Princeton had 21 out of 30 shots on goal. Maryland also 21, but they took 38. Syracuse was not efficient at all in these shots on goal in the previous game against Harvard, and that's where they're going to have to clean it up, because if they don't, they're going to fall the same way that Maryland did.
Yeah, well, 2 big road games for Syracuse men's lacrosse, but Syracuse women's lacrosse will be playing in the Dome tomorrow. We'll give you a preview of that game right when we come back. All right.
Women's lacrosse.
Yes, I want to talk about happier things, but we just have to talk about more losing.
But there's just so much good that also comes from the games. Just so hard to see the losses. So there's there's a lot to take from it, but it still is.
It's tough out here, man, to be representing the Orange S. I literally had to look up Syracuse hockey because I was like, maybe they won, and maybe that can be my
they were swept this weekend.
No.
Yeah. No. But on the brighter side of men's club ACHA club hockey, they did clinch a spot in the playoffs.
I did see that yesterday.
They did. So somehow.
And are they moving to not club? Did I see that somewhere? Or are they staying club?
Yeah. So what was it, last year? Like a year and a half ago, that thing came out that they're going to then potentially move up. So that's the issue with not an issue with Title IX, but the thing that
Alex is going to rip on Title IX, everyone.
No, okay. Basically, not to say it's a problem, but Syracuse has a decent amount of sports. Men's hockey, for instance, men's hockey and men's rugby, right? So men's hockey is ACHA. Rugby, I forget what their division is called at this point. Used to keep up with it, don't anymore, but they're a decent team. And they won the national championship 3 years ago for rugby. But
that's a John Wildhack's resume.
Exactly. It's another thing, but it's club. But that's the thing is, it's club. So for Syracuse, because of Title IX and everything, you have to have equal amount of whatever. So we don't have a D1 rugby team and we don't have a D1 hockey team on the men's side. So they play in leagues. For instance, men's hockey is ACHA. But teams that they play against, for instance, they play against Delaware. They are playing the Delaware men's Division I hockey team that is funded by their school, that they get recruits from and scholarships because they play, and it's considered their D1 team, and they play in the ACHA. So you're having Syracuse students who are playing club hockey, which they do recruit, but it's not the same way as a D1 program recruits, who are playing against kids who are getting scholarships and recruitment and funding from the university. The club team gets some money, but it's just not the same. So you're having guys who are playing in not as good facilities, this, that, all this other stuff against D1 hockey players. So if Syracuse was to, if you're going from one ACHA team to the next, you would be a Division I men's hockey player. But because you go to Syracuse, you're playing the same teams. You have to undergo the same, literally everything, practice 5 days a week, lifts, film, every single thing that they undergo, but you're not considered a D1 athlete. You're considered a club athlete because of that.
I mean, listen, if there's one sport that, well, hold on. Let me think about this. Okay. Would I rather have Syracuse baseball or Syracuse hockey? Now I understand, because this thing, we have a softball team, but not a baseball team. Correct. So the weather is not like a force to everyone's like, you can't. It's like, actually, no, we have a softball team. I think.
But we also have a women's hockey team that's D1 and not a men's hockey team. Yeah.
I mean, all power to women, but I think I would enjoy a hockey team. I think that's missing. Like when I see I don't know where they would play, maybe in the Crunches arena, but like when I see like the Big Ten, like Michigan, Wisconsin hockey games, I'm like, to have that atmosphere here, and there is an audience for it.
Oh, very much so. Even to the point where they also play in the on center where the Crunch play once a season. Yeah. And it's always so much fun going there to watch the games.
Yeah. Let's get hockey.
They're playing against NC State, Delaware, Louisville, Pitt, like Stony Brook, all these teams where these are their men's Division I programs. Like if you look at within the ACHA, they play in the ACCHL. So that's their division, and the talent is insane.
Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today, broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, guys, welcome back. I joked with Alex in the break that I wish we could talk about more winning, like I said, to open the show, but unfortunately we can't. And in the Syracuse women's lacrosse team, who even though they're 0-3 to start the season, they jumped all the way back in the rankings to number 15. Their schedule has just been a monster. I mean, they've lost to number 7, number 1, and number 2. And their margin of losses are not that large at all. They just lost to number 2 Stanford by 2. They lost 9-13 to the number 1 team. So are we learning that this team is struggling and maybe they were overrated coming into the season, or has this opening schedule just been brutal to this team?
I think it's just the opening schedule being absolutely brutal. And that's also what the head coach, Reggie Thorpe, was saying, is that you come to Syracuse to play top teams. You're not coming here to play nobody teams or low-ranked, unranked opponents. You're coming here to be the top talent and to play the top talent. So you're coming right out of the gate with a brand new head coach, different coaching style, a whole new identity, and you're playing, like you mentioned, the number 1 team, the number 2 team, playing these top programs, but you're only losing within such a small margin. I think that Syracuse will be able to pull away at some point in this season, and they do have such a strong team, and there are so many positives to take away from this game. So yes, they're 0-3, but they're playing the top programs in the country. So I think it just comes down to what an intense schedule that they have.
Right, and for everyone arguing that is saying, well, they can't beat these ranked teams and top teams in the country. If you told me that in end of March, beginning of April, you would have an argument. But because these are the first 3 games under a new head coach, everyone's getting adjusted. You have new faces on the team. I mean, it's a lot to just put on this Syracuse team. They also started home, then they went all the way to California, and then back home. So you pile on traveling into this team. It's a lot. Have we seen growth, though, from game 1 to game 3 with the offense and the defense? Because they're scoring goals from the first game to the third game. Their defense looks great, but has there been growth to say that tomorrow when number 13 Loyola comes into the Dome, they have a real shot to beat them?
Yes. So I'll start with the first part of has there been growth on the Syracuse side? I think that they've struggled in elements of their game. That's to be expected. But they have shown growth in their ability to see each other on the field and the chemistry, especially around the crease with the doorstep shots. You have Caroline Trinkus getting feeds from Mackenzie Rich, and they were some phenomenal ones. The last 2 goals that Syracuse scored, which were the only 2 of the fourth period, was by that duo of Mackenzie Rich dishing it off to Caroline Trinkus. Also, like Gracie Britton finding Bree Peters. There were so many great goals in this game that came off of phenomenal feeds and being able to draw their defenders and make such quick passes to their teammates. So I think that the chemistry is just growing and it can only get better from here, and that it just takes some time for them to find it. But once they did, this team looked like they could be the best team, even playing against a top-ranked Stanford. So there's so much to take away from that game, and the fact that they were able to make these connective passes. I think that someone who didn't get on that score sheet was Jolie Caramelli, but when I was watching that game, she kept finding her stick open right in the middle. So it's just going to take time to keep meshing this chemistry together and find each other's open sticks. But she did such a great job off ball, which matters just as much on ball, because if you're able to get open, if you're able to help your teammates create space, that's just as important as if you were the one who put the ball in the back of the net. Now, one concern is the fact that free position shots. They did not do well on free position shots. They were 1 for 5. It has the word free in the name. So they changed free position shots this year, which not only affects the D1 level, but club women's lacrosse as well. So myself as a goalie am personally really upset by this, which I get it. So it used to be that within all the hashes, so if you're looking out at the 8 meters, all the different hashes, so based off of where the foul occurred or shooting space, whatever, you would go to that closest hash. Now they're giving them the best 2 hashes to shoot from. Literally the easiest to basically make a shot from. So goalies used to turn themselves wide. Now they're facing straight on free shots. They did face Lucy Pearson, top goalie. Personally, I think she could have had a better performance. But Syracuse was not able to capitalize on these free position shots. I mean, you're missing 4 of them. You lost by 2 points, so that's a win and a loss right there. These free position shots, especially with how talented this team is, like you've said, they're losing within such a small margin. I think that free position shots are exactly what is going to take them from a losing to a winning team if they're able to capitalize on the opportunities that they're also drawing for themselves. They go out there and they try and draw those fouls. They draw the shooting space. They throw hitches so that the rest will call it, and you're getting these opportunities and you're not making the shots.
You know what? You talk about the free position shots rule change that you don't like. You know what I think would needs to be a rule change in women's lacrosse? Hitting. I mean, seriously.
In what way?
In just every way. If the men are allowed to do it, why can't the women do it? That's a thing that pisses me off. I mean, just across the board of men's and women's sports, that they have to calm it down for the women's sports. No, let these women hit. I think Syracuse would win a lot more games if they can hit.
Yeah. So the thing with hitting is, yes, you would have to change up the padding, basically put us in men's. But I think we should. Wait, this is a whole different conversation, and I'm loving every second of it. So
I'm just saying.
My philosophy on this is the fact that they're like you said, they dull down certain women's sports to make them less aggressive.
Yes.
I mean, men's hockey and women's hockey, they're wearing the same things, yet there's different rules. I remember when we played for a season. We did play hockey together in high school. It was completely different between checking and slashing and all these calls than the men's team. So in lacrosse, women just have goggles. If they're getting like more concussions, more of this, because they're just wearing goggles. It's literally it. You have goggles and a mouth guard. So I don't understand why we can't wear the same equipment as men and play by the same rules. And some people are like, oh, but it's women's, it's women's. Guess what? Women play box lacrosse with the same rules. They put on full-blown padding like the men do, and they hit. It is an aggressive game. It is a rough game. And guess what? The USA women's team won the box lacrosse nationals. Did the men? Nope. Women were better in that sport. In the World Championship game last year in Utica, and it's growing as a women's sport. Guess what? On that World Championship team, you have Cece Webb, a Syracuse women's lacrosse player. There have been multiple Syracuse lacrosse players who went to the training camp they had in the winter. There were like 6 of them there who made a roster. We can do it. It's why aren't we?
All right, put Alex and I on like the NCAA lacrosse board. We'll change some things up. Don't you worry about it. Well, in a sport where maybe aggression isn't the best thing for the sport, and we saw that with Donnie Freeman being ejected versus UNC, we'll talk about that UNC game with this men's basketball team and what's next if there is a future for this team. Stay tuned.
Did you miss Drive Time with...
Well, back to one of your, the opening of this was, do I think that they have a shot against Loyola? So I'm going to take one step back of the fact that this was one of the most insane weekends, not only of men's lacrosse like we talked about, but women's lacrosse as well. You have Michigan taking down BC in double overtime, and that's the first time in program history that Michigan has beat BC, and now BC is 0-3 on the season, which is the worst start they've ever had since 1999. So before any of the players on the roster were ever born, have they literally never lost 3 games to start their season. And so Michigan also took down Florida last week. So that was last week. This week, Florida took down Clemson, and again, another close game of 14-13. And Florida has done a decent job. I mean, they took down Clemson, obviously 14-13. One area where they're playing phenomenal is so far, all season, they are perfect on clears. They are 49 for 49.
Wow.
But they are struggling a bit in the cage. They have Maya Soskin. I don't know if she's actually from Cold Spring Harbor. She's a freshman for Florida, but Paige Crowther's one of their grad students. She stepped up towards the end. So the two of them have kind of been like splitting time. She's the one who ended up winning the game for them, but it was just such a
speaking of Long
game.
Island, you know what I heard the announcer say on the Syracuse, I mean, it was the Ivy League broadcast. It wasn't ACC. Otherwise, it would have been a much, much better broadcasted game, in my opinion. And I was so sick. Oh, my God. Side note, but of all the Harvard ads during the intermissions, I was like, all right, I get it. Yeah. Like, you want...
we do the same thing for sure.
Yeah, but like, okay, I get it. You're Harvard.
Yeah, it was all Harvard. I did see that.
One thing that the announcer said is, I guess a lot of the Harvard players were from the Massachusetts area, and they referred to Massachusetts as Laxachusetts. They're like the best players who play lacrosse come from it's like Laxachusetts. I'm like, wait, that is Long Island's like thing. Like, you can't take lacrosse from Long Island.
So Laxachusetts is a club team.
No, but
I know they were referring to it as that.
Yes.
But there were a few people like, oh, because Johnny Mullen for Syracuse, and whoever he was facing off against both played for Laxachusetts.
That's fine. I'm fine with the team name. But to say that the best players in lacrosse come out of Massachusetts and not Long Island.
We literally have Joey Spallina.
Is just ridiculous. You just couldn't stop at Joey Spallina.
T-Mac.
You can say
Matt
the
McGinty.
Spallina family.
Spallina family as a whole. I mean, 4 of our starting and top players on the Syracuse squad, Long Island.
Yeah.
Well, that actually now goes to my next point of what I was going to say when I was talking about all these phenomenal players. So you have Maya Soskin, Florida. Then Princeton women's lacrosse did lose over the weekend. So they lost to Loyola. So that's where this was. That's where the full circle comes in. We're getting back. I know
we got back. We did it.
Getting off the trail. But so Loyola took down Princeton. And the one area where Loyola absolutely dominated, they were 20-6 on the draw circle. So I think that's going to be the biggest struggle for Syracuse playing Loyola. But wait, one moment. I'm looking for something. Where did it go?
There's a lot of lacrosse.
A lot of lacrosse going on.
A lot of lacrosse going on.
But something that a lot of people were mentioning in this game was that the one player from Princeton who was really holding them together and holding them on was Meg Morrisroe from Huntington. So right next to Coastal Harbor, but she played on the same club team as me. She was just younger. She was a year younger, but I played against her, and even when we did winter training. So I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I played goalie with Maya Soskin. I had Meg Morrisroe shooting on me. I was like listening to all these highlights of women's lacrosse this week, and I was like, dang. I was like, Long Island is taking over. All the names are mentioning. We're all Long Island girls.
Watch live on QSports.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dylan Byer with Alex Pohl. And all this negativity, it's really got me searching for something positive. And luckily, I'm not the only one who thought there should be some positivity to come out of Syracuse sports. So after the Syracuse basketball game versus UNC, Syracuse basketball Twitter account tweeted out, 23,606 fans were in attendance today. There's the highest single game attendance in the country during this season. We love our fans. We love you guys. Now everyone's commenting, we don't love you back, pretty much. Like, what this everyone was like, 23,000, that was a Tuesday night versus BC in the middle of December. Like, this isn't something to be celebrated. Negativity. I actually disagree with all of those comments, because what this shows you is that there is an appetite for Syracuse basketball. There is a belief maybe in this Syracuse basketball team and for the future. Syracuse basketball fans will always be there and will always show up. A losing season or two, not making it to the NCAA tournament in the past 4 seasons is not enough of a reason to turn these Syracuse fans completely off. So now, this is all in the team. Your fan support is there. Even if they're the same fans in the stadium who are going online and saying, you guys suck, you need to be fired, at the end of the day, these fans are going to show up for you.
See, I disagree with that.
How?
So right now, yes, they do have fans showing up, but I think that this is something that's actually going to hurt Syracuse so much more than people realize.
What, their fans showing up?
Yes, because they make, in the sense of they make revenue and a lot of money that helps the team out. Syracuse, in comparison to how much money so many of these other ACC teams are putting into their teams, have very, very little. A big portion, or a solid portion of the money that they have is because of season ticket holders. Those season tickets are very expensive, especially for the people who are huge Syracuse fans, who are getting some, like, the better seats down below, up top in boxes, whatever the situation may be. Very, very expensive, and a lot of money that they're putting towards the Syracuse team to support them and to help this program. Now, in the past few seasons, the amount of season ticket holders and money that is being spent towards this program is dwindling down. And now the fact that they are losing yet again, are not going to make the tournament again, is that between this season, next season, they're going to lose even more season ticket holders, which is then going to lead to them having less money for this team.
I don't know.
So I don't think it's right for them to think, oh, our fans are still here. Well, no, you need to keep playing well and playing better than you have been to hold on to the fans that are spending substantial money to come to see you play every single week.
Well, yes, I don't agree with that. I don't disagree with that fact. But what I'm saying is that the fact that this season has gone the way it has, all these media narratives have come out about Syracuse, there could have been 10 to 15,000 fans in attendance at that game. But the fact that that was the most attended Syracuse basketball game thus far this season and compared to everyone else. But I don't really like that statistic because Syracuse has the biggest stadium just because of where they play. But this tells me that forget about looking ahead into next season. This season, I won't call it belief, but I'll call it an appetite. People still want to watch Syracuse basketball. So
because we're in Syracuse, New York, there's no other professional teams over here. What else are you doing on a Saturday at 1 p.m.?
But that's my point. Next year, Saturday at 1 p.m. is still going to be the Saturday at 1 p.m. in the middle of winter. People will always want to watch, if you live in Syracuse, New York, Syracuse basketball. It doesn't matter, like we see, how horrible this team is or how good, hopefully, they will be in the years to come. People want to watch this team. So now, forget about this season because no one's going to come. And yes, it helped that it was a UNC team, so it was a great matchup. UNC was without their best player. It was a plus 1.5 point spread. People really thought this team had a chance, as did I. But now, looking at that atmosphere, because Syracuse has been painted in such a negative light by PTI, by ESPN, by everybody all across the media, I think it was very important for Syracuse to put out this tweet to call to the rest of the nation to say, hey, wait, people do come to our games. People still want to watch Syracuse basketball. The product that they're putting on the court might not be as great in the past, but the fans and the atmosphere will be and are still here. So it becomes so important now, if you're looking for a head coach, to emphasize that. Because imagine you're looking to hire a new head coach, right?
Yeah.
Let's say Autry's out. What's your selling point? The history? That's not going to do it. If you had low attendance at every single one of these games, how would you want to come in as a head coach? But now this could be a selling point. So I really like it.
I don't think one game with solid attendance is a big selling point. And on top of it, I think that this game, it was one of the final games of the season. There's only one more game this season, that's at home. And I know that a lot of people were actually having events at this game. We're doing it as like a bonding opportunity to go to this game. I mean, I know over 200 people who showed up to this game who have never gone to a single game all season and will continue to not go. They did it just for the sake of that. So I don't think that is a huge selling point, that they have one game with that attendance.
No, it's not the single game. It's the fact that it's this late in the season. You look at the record of this team, and despite all odds, fans still show up. There's still an appetite. People still want to watch and will want to watch Syracuse basketball, and that's a selling point. If I was a head coach, if I was alumni to donate, I think it's, hey, Syracuse basketball actually, yes, their record and the actual team has fallen off the map a little bit, but the want to watch Syracuse be great will always be there. Now, actually getting into this game, because it was a great game, despite the Syracuse loss, this game was tied at 44 with 12 minutes left in the game. So Syracuse stayed in this game, but then UNC went on an 8-0 run and never looked back. And it's just the inconsistencies, it's the foul trouble this game. Syracuse got into a lot of foul trouble. They shot 3 for 17 on threes, and that is something that this team just continues to make me upset about since freshman year. Forget the free throws. The three-point shooting, we just cannot seem to figure out.
There's a lot of things we can't figure out at this point, and especially this late in the season. Do you feel like it's time for everyone to kind of just cut the losses at this point? Like, can you expect them to keep making these three-point shots or to figure out their foul shots? Less than a handful of games left in the season.
At this point in the season,
it's just over.
I'm throwing up the white flag. Surrender, please. And you know, Nate Kings was asked post-game, where is this team at mentally? And he said, quote, I don't really have an answer for that. I don't know where we're at mentally, but we just got to try to find the positive things. To hear one of your premier star players say, I don't really know where this team's at mentally, no matter what your record is, you do not want to hear that. Because that comes down to the relationships within this team, your relationship with the coach, how disciplined you are, not only in your media training, but who you are as a team. I just think that people need to turn off the TV and turn on something else, because it's just very, very frustrating to watch. And you almost are like, well, how do we not watch this UNC game? Their best players out. We're at home. This is UNC Syracuse.
Yeah, but if it was any other year, we'd have thousands more fans. Like, yes, they did have a solid attendance, but I just don't think it's something that, like you said, like a selling point of this, of that. I mean, our freshman year, when they started, sort of like that's kind of when the decline really started of this program. When we went to that Duke game, UC game, there were thousands more people than there were at this game. It's just not enough because of how poorly the team is playing.
It's not enough. It's not enough. Well, when we come back, we will recap the best moments from the Olympics, because to me the Olympics were enough and they were worth watching. So we'll recap the best moments and hopefully some brighter days ahead for this Syracuse team. We'll be right back. Perfect.
Yeah.
We were getting some adjustments done during the show.
In the background. Needed it. Oh my gosh, I couldn't see
Yeah, but now I
anything.
feel very pale. I feel like my color has gone a little bit.
There's no more sun on us, but I couldn't see a thing. Also, wasn't even for us. It's them shooting up there, and that this is the background. That the light was coming through here, hitting me. It wasn't even for us. They don't care about us. No.
Well, looking into these Olympics, I don't want to give away like anything, but all I will say is, and we talked about this a little with Syracuse, but turn on hockey. Like, I have been a fan of hockey since the day I could walk, and everyone's like, people actually debate if the NHL is like the fourth franchise of American sports. How anyone can say it's not, I don't know. After the Olympics, how anyone can say it's not, I really don't know. On both the men's and the women's side, I think the PWHL is going to grow very fast after what the women just did in these Olympics. Definitely. And I'm very excited for it. I didn't really watch any other sport from hockey in the Olympics. Did you?
Yes. Bobsledding was so
like, it was
much
on
fun.
in the background at like Barnes or like in some of my like Newhouse classes, but I wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna watch alpine skiing today.
Okay, I agree in this. Oh, actually, I did watch alpine skiing, but okay, in the sense of like, I wasn't, I didn't have like the schedule plugged into my phone. It wasn't like the game yesterday of USA and Canada, and I had like my alarm set in the morning. Like, you were getting up latest 8 a.m. You have to be ready. Like, no, I wasn't setting alarms. I wasn't like marking my calendar, my Google Calendar off of like, you are free during these hours. But it was so much fun to like, doing homework, making dinner at night, in the morning, just like in between classes. I like go onto my Peacock account, or well, my friend's Peacock account. And actually it's Mackenzie's.
Really?
Yeah. It was like each of their names, and it says Alex Katz on the last profile with a photo of Dwight. I was like, great, thank you. Dwight from The Office. That's how you put my profile in there. It's fine. But go on there, and I like click on Olympics, and then it was so much fun to be like, okay, like what weird, or like not even weird, but like unique sport, or like what's something I've never seen before, like what just looks interesting, or what clips have I seen on Instagram. So I'm like scrolling through like what's live, and I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, I'll do this one or that one, and I'll like click on it. Bobsledding. Oh wait, I saw someone break some sort of record, and then it was like this other I don't know. It was super exciting. Then seeing them like whip across, and shows the speed of them going in the top corner.
See,
and
so
I was
I'm very hesitant to call things sports that I don't understand or I don't think require a lot of athletic ability, because I think there's a difference between athletic ability and skill. I think to start the bobsled when they're like running and have to push off, like, wow, that's a lot. But as they're just like, it's like almost sledding, and they do that thing with their feet. I mean, it is sledding. It's bobsledding. Is that something different?
No, that's bobsledding. Wait, okay.
It's where you run and then you lay down like you're a penguin.
That is not bobsledding.
Is that the luge?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think that's a sport. Sorry. What's bobsledding?
Wait, no, the luge is also okay.
Wait.
Bobsledding. No, the luge is
you
also.
You guys, I didn't watch the Olympics.
Okay, the luge, I think, the luge does involve skill, because, for instance,
the bobsled team.
Bobsled is you sit in the thing. You're not laying on your stomach.
Oh.
Or you think about the skeleton.
Oh, bobsled is with the team.
The team, and you run, you push it, or there's like the
You
duels, and then you
guys.
jump into the thing, and you like sit there in like a little tiny cannonball.
Yeah, not a sport either.
Okay, no. You have to push that thing. You have to do like a crazy start to try and push it.
To start a sport.
And then when you're in it, they're not just sitting in it, they're like steering that thing to not hit the walls. You're slipping on ice, you're going 90 plus miles an hour, pushing for people.
Fine.
And then did you see the clip of the USA guy who gets in, everyone falls out, the guy in the back who's supposed to do the brakes jumps out the back. He decides to finish the race going 90 miles an hour in a thing that's supposed to be holding like 500 to 800 pounds of 700 pounds of human weight, only having one person, the tiniest person on the team. He was being slung around.
I mean,
then
listen.
he had to, as it's moving like 100 miles an hour, push himself backwards 4 seats to then grab brakes. That's
Watch
impressive.
your
I'm
favorite
sorry, but if
ESPN
any of us were in
Syracuse
to
sports
fly out
talk
of that thing,
shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, we are back with you for the last 5 minutes. I'm Dylan Byer with Alex Pohl. We were talking about bobsledding and luges.
And the skeleton.
And the skeleton in the break. Some great moments to come from that. I didn't see. I got confused with the difference between them. But I will ask.
The skeleton was bobsled.
Listen, they're very similar. But
A small little rectangle thing that you lay on head first
you're
versus
both going
a team
90 miles
and you jump
power
back.
down the ice.
Continue.
It's like tomato, you know?
Oh, totally.
What was you think, the best moment to come out of these Olympic Games? And I think I know your answer.
I don't think you do.
Oh, is it going to be the bobsled team?
No, it's not the bobsled.
What is it?
Actually, that was a great moment, but I talked about it already.
So what was?
Can I have two?
Sure.
I'm gonna take two.
Okay.
Okay, I think the first one, the obvious one, is USA beating Canada yesterday. But the moment I actually started like tearing up and got so emotional about.
Are you gonna steal mine?
Probably.
1, 2, 3.
Johnny Gaudreau's kids. Oh wait.
No, keep going,
okay.
because that's a great moment. Also.
Okay, literally made me tear up was when. Anyone who's watched hockey knows who Johnny Hockey is. Andrew passed away last year in car bike accident.
Yes.
And his son, also named Johnny, it was his birthday that day, his second birthday. After the USA men's team won the game, they go and they bring out 2 of his children onto the ice with their father, who has obviously passed away's jersey. They bring them out onto the ice. I just think it was such an emotional moment, and something where even when they talk to the players afterwards, they're like, he should have been here. Mm-hmm. He should have won this medal. And being able to bring his kids out there, and how everyone's like, oh, it's a family. Like, that truly just shows that they're not just playing and fighting playing for our country and representing us, but him and his legacy and his memory, and to have his kids be a part of that, I think was such an amazing moment.
Yeah, I think the men's hockey game in total, you talk about the tribute to Johnny Gaudreau. It happened on the anniversary of Miracle on Ice. Yep. Connor Hellebuck looked amazing. Jack Hughes. God. This is what's great. Quinn Hughes, his brother who's on the team, said in an interview after the game, Jack Hughes couldn't sleep the night before.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Quinn said to him, why can't you sleep? He's like, I can't go to bed because I'm dreaming about scoring the overtime winning goal. And then he did it. So keep dreaming, because sometimes your dreams come true. And to sentiment with that, the best moment that also came from this broadcast, I think, of the Olympics was the Mike Tirico sign-off.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have to say it. Syracuse alum is just Mr. Sports at this point. He really does it all. The way that he just did that off script from the dome, you really felt the emotions, not only of the Olympics, but of sports as a general, and how it really brings this whole country together. And I really don't think there's anyone better in the nation than Mike Tirico, and it helps that he is a Syracuse grad.
And now I'm just going to quickly add in what my second favorite moment was.
Okay.
It actually does have to do with bobsledding.
Okay.
Is that Alana Mayers-Taylor. So she's already one of the most decorated female bobsledders. She's from the U.S., and is just a phenomenal athlete. But one milestone she didn't check off was getting that gold medal. And so during the bobsled, she won by like 0.04 seconds, but she wins in this big moment, and her two young children, her sons, were in the crowd, and they were both deaf. And you see the father holding one of the sons, and he's like there, and he like keeps signing like mom and showing. He's like, yes, like there's mom, there's mom. And then like the sons run over to her afterwards, and she finally realizes like when she gets her gold medal, and they're signed to each other, and she's like, mom won, mom, I'm like, I got gold. It was just such an adorable moment of her communicating with her children and how excited they were, and just seeing the whole family interacting together was just such a cool moment.
I love that. Well, to bring this all back, because to open, I said there wasn't a lot of things to celebrate, and we've pointed out the great moments of these Olympics. The U.S. did not win the Olympics either. Did you know this? I feel like everyone gets lost in like the big games, but Norway actually won the Olympics.
I didn't know that.
What does Norway get? Like a leg up in like a peace treaty or something? Like, what do you win if you win do you just get to be like, oh, we're Norway, we're number one in bobsled and all these things? I mean, love the Olympics. It's not a knock on the Olympics. I'm just wondering. The USA came in second, by the way, with 33 total medals.
Yeah, and actually women won out of the gold medals for the U.S., the female athletes won over 60% of them for the U.S. They won, I think it was like 8 of
Write that down.
8 of the 13 golds, or 8 of 12 golds. It was all won by female athletes.
Women's sports on the rise. Pay attention. Well, that's all the time we have left for you today. We'll see you next week. I'm Dylan Vire here with Alex Pohl. As always, have a great rest of your day.
Did you miss Drive Time?